What's up, strongest men, women, and children from blocks all around the world? I am my block's strongest man, and this evening I wanted to jump on to discuss whether or not World's Strongest Man 2021 winner Tom Stoltman is the most dominant winner in the last 10 years of World's Strongest Man. And so we jumped on here the other night and talked about some metrics on what determines who is the best and who is the most dominant of the finalists in World's Strongest Man. And specifically, I've started off with the past 10 years just so we can have a point of context, and then we can expand further and do the work to expand into further years back, because we know that cutting it off at 10 years cuts into the middle of some guys' careers and can give kind of incorrect impression in some cases. So, of course, all my wonderful audience pointed out that there was a specific metric I was missing that might tell either the whole story or a better story, and that is not the accumulation of points that they had done or even the placing, but maybe what percentage of available points had been attained by that particular competitor. And that being said, I went back and for that same last 10 years period, did the analysis of, in the past 10 years, which finalists, so these are just in the finals, which finalists in World's Strongest Man have had the largest percentage of points earned over points possible. And here is the list, and we'll kind of start off at the bottom. And Graham Hicks, of course, had to pull out last year, so he has the one finals appearance and had 1 point. So his, he has one, which would be 1.67%. And then one thing I need to correct from the last stream, I had said there were 37 different guys who had made it as finalists to World's Strongest Man in the last 10 years. I had a mistake in my math. It's actually 41. So I wanted to make that correction this evening. As we work our way up and reveal the surprise, in 40th place is Mikhail Koklayev at 3.33%. So he had averaged 2 points. And, that's out of the given total number of points in all of the years that these guys have participated. And we'll look at how all that breaks down in a moment. So then we go to number 39, and that's Irvin Katona at 15.83%. And I want you to, as we go, guess your way as to where in this list Tom Stoltman will fall. Remember the question being, according to this particular metric, the percentage of the available points to him that he actually earned, taking all of the points combined that he earned in the 3 World's Strongest Man finals he made, divided by all of the points possible in those 3 World's Strongest Man finals that he made. Where does he fall on this list? Is he, in fact, number one? Is he the most dominant World's Strongest Man winner or finalist in the last 10 years? Is he halfway down the list? Try to make a determination or prediction in your mind, and let's see where we end up. Number 38 is Nick Best at 16.67%, and you're looking at column AT here. Then we move up, and number 37 is Mikhail Shivlikov, who is at 21.67%. And then we have, of course, Big Laz, Lawrence Chalet at 28.65%. Of course, he had some withdrawals due to injury, as did some of these other guys, Graham Hicks as well. So they're not really full bodies of evidence where all events were completed like some of the other guys that are closer to the top of the list. Number 35 is Mark Felix at 29.17%, and you'll see that percentage in AT increasing as we go. Johannes Arzio is 29.58%, and he's 34th place. Then we have everybody's favorite Robert Oberst coming in at 33rd place, and he's at 29.58%. We then move up, and in 32nd place is Martin Wildauer at 30.56%. Still no Tom Stoltman, so he's not near the very bottom. Number 31 is Hafthor Bjornsson, and he is at 34.17% of the possible points earned. So his total points, as you see in the next column, 20.5, and if you were to divide that by the available points, it's 34.17. Dimitar Savatinov comes in at 36.67%. And he is in 30th place. Then we have Luke Richardson in 29th place, so the future Luke Richardson, 37.5% of the total available points. And then we have Bobby Thompson, who is in 28th place, and he is at 39.17% of available points. And so if you want to take a look at how we did this, This is, again, the sum of all points obtained divided by the sum of all points possible. So as you see right up here, it would be, D plus H plus L plus P, blah, 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 divided by all of the next columns over. Then you have, moving up, number 27 is Warwick Brand at 39.58%. And then number 26, Jerry Pritchett, a big fan favorite at 39.58%. So he has a total of 76 points in all of his finals. Then you have Mathias Belsac with a total of 48.5 points. But that percentage is higher than Jerry's, even though his total is lower, which is one of the reasons why my wonderful audience wanted me to do this metric. So he's at 40.42%. So now we've done from number 25 to 41 and still no Tom Stoltman. So things are looking good for him. Let's see what happens. Gregor Zemansky is number 24 at 42.5%. Then we have Konstantin Janasha, who just competed in World's Strongest Man 2021. He is 23rd on the list at 42.59%. We then have Dave Osland, who is number 22 at 44.44%. Adam Bishop at number 21, 44.71%. And number 20 is Luke Stoltman at 47.27%. So Tom somewhere in the top 19 so far, and glad to see his brother is in the top 20. Moving up, Ivar Schmockstellis, who is a little bit newer on the scene, number 19. So he is 47.5% of available points is what he's obtained for a total of 28.5 in the finals. Clearly, he didn't make it this year. Trey Mitchell at number 18. He has a total of 53 points in World's Strongest Man finals, and that's 48.18% of total points possible, and that puts him in 18th place. 17th place is Johan Els, who has 30 points, and that's 50% of available points, so getting to a really high percentage now. And as we move up, the legend, Terry Hollins, who recently announced his retirement from World's Strongest Man competition, is at 16th place with 51.04% with his 98 total points. Kevin Ferris in 15th place has 51.67%, and that was with 31 total points. And now we move up to 14th place, JF Caron, who competed a lot of the time in World's Strongest Man finals this year with a torn hamstring and still soldiered through to a 5th place finish, is 52.03% of available points earned for him in his finals, which were considerable, and he has a total of 282 points. So he's among the very top in total points and number 14 in percentage of points achieved of the points possible. Number 13 is Krzysztof Rajakowski, and he is with 32.5 points at 54.17%. We then have number 12, Mateusz Kiliaskowski at 60.65%, so a significant jump from number 13 to number 12 there for Mateusz, and that is with a total of 139.5 points for the finals that he has attended. We then have number 11, Maxime Boudreau, who made the podium this year in 3rd place. He is at 60.83% of available points is what he has earned, and that amounts to 36.5 points. Mike Burke at number 10, 62.5% for a total of 120 points for Mike Burke. That was 3 finals. And, of course, Maxime was in the finals for the first time this year, so you'll see that in column AQ, where I mentioned how many finals each of these guys were in. So we're in the top 10 now and still no Tom. It's looking very promising to call him the greatest strongman in the last 10 years, or the greatest world's strongest man competitor, I should say, in the last 10 years, or at least one of them. Let's see. So is he the best? Number 9, Big Z, Zydrunas Savickas. And of course, this 10-year cuts off part of his career, and these numbers may change when I expand this out. I wanted to get this discussion out so we can talk it through and have a starting point and an evolving discussion over time that gets better and better as all of you figure out more and more measurements that I should take to make this even better. Because, we do also want to take into account people who haven't competed in that many World's Strongest Man competitions versus those that have and are at similar percentages to each other. We come up with some sort of weighted balance score that maybe will apply when I have all years of World's Strongest Man in here, And if we have people that are at comparable percentages, but one has done it for 8 years and one has done it for 2, we kind of figure out a weighting. So we'll get to that point as well. So Big Z at number 9 is 64.78% for 241 points in total. Hey, what's up, Hunger Smash Fitness? Hey, what's up, Kathleen? Sorry, I was reading off my sheet. What's up, World's Strongest Blacksmith and Carolyn? So I was reading off my spreadsheet. I didn't see you all arrive. Kathleen, what did you miss? What you missed was in the last live stream, we were talking about whether or not Tom Stoltman is the most dominant World's Strongest Man winner or finalist in the last 10 years. And all of you in my wonderful audience had suggested I was missing a really key metric, and I agree. And that is not only like how many total points have they accumulated, but what percentage of the available points did they obtain? And I started off at the bottom of my list. First correction I made was in the last stream, I said there were 37 different finalists in the last 10 years, and I was wrong. I had a mathematical error. It's 41, not 37. So I started at the bottom of my list, worked my way up, and we're up into the top 10 now, where Big Z rates number 9. And again, this is cutting off part of his career because I've only done the last 10 years so far, and this will evolve over time. We'll make some more videos as I gather more and more data and make this more robust. But I wanted to get everybody thinking, especially if I'm missing another really good metric, to let me know what it is. So Big Z comes in at 64.78% of possible points he actually obtained in his 6 finals appearances in the last 10 years. We then move up to number 8, Martins Licis. In his 4 finals in the last 10 years, 65% of the available points he obtained, and that was a total of 149.5 points for him. We then move up to number 7, Vytautas Lalas, who is one of Big Laz's favorites. He's always mentioning him, and he has a total of 78.5 points in 2 finals, and that's an average of almost 40 points a final. Really, really considerable. And that is 65.42% of the available points he obtained. We then move up to number 6, Mike Jenkins at 66.25% of available points. That puts him in 6th place. We now move to the top 5. All of you, put in your mind, we haven't seen Tom Stoltman yet. Where in the top 5 is he? Hunger Smash Fitness, you already know the answer because I told you this before, so you can't cheat. Tell all the rest. All right, so number 5, Eddie Hall with 68.06% of available points he obtained for an average of almost 43 points in the 4 finals that he competed in the last 10 years. He had a total of 171.5 points. Number 4 is Tom Stoltman. So according strictly to this metric, and I know there's many metrics, if we're taking this metric, Tom is not the most dominant World's Strongest Man finalist in the last 10 years, but he's damn close. A lot closer than I think some of the other data would have indicated. So Tom has obtained in his 3 finals a staggering 70% of the available points to him, with a total of 119 points. So, of course, he had the 2 podiums and all 3 of them top 5 finishes. Anyone want to guess the top 3 before I get to them? Let's see. Well, let's move on. Number 3, I think is no surprise. It's Brian Shaw. So Brian Shaw with 76.08% of available points, actually considerably higher than Tom. And the total, of course, Brian has been in 10 finals out of the last 10 years. So he's accumulated 458 points, higher than anybody else in the last 10 years. Now we have the top 2. So if Brian and Tom are not the top 2, who are? Well, first of all, I find it really interesting that Brian and Tom finished so close to each other in this year's World's Strongest Man, and are also so close to each other as an aggregate over the last 10 years. It's really an interesting piece of statistics there. So number 2, Alexei Novikov. And again, this may be a little unfair and maybe not. So Novikov is at 78.33% of available points. He did it only in 1 final, though. So one could argue, well, he did really well in 1 final. He may not do that well in any finals that he may get to in the future. And so that may bring his average down, and that's a fair comment. The other side of that coin is, took a lot of hard work to get 47 points in that 1 final. So you can kind of argue either way whether or not this positioning and this percentage is fair. I think both sides have merit, but if we're going just by that metric, he is number 2 all time. So Hafthor Bjornsson, Thor, is number 1, 80.19% of available points earned in his 8 finals in the last 10 years for an average of 48.3 points and a total of 386.5 points, which I think is second only to Brian Shaw in total. And to be fair, over the last 10 years, Brian did it in 10 finals, whereas Thor did his total in 8 finals. So there you have it. There's your ranking from 41 all the way up to 1 in terms of percentage of points available in all of the years that person competed and percentage of points they earned. And if you can take that at least as one of the parameters to judge who the greatest finalist or World's Strongest Man winner in the last 10 years is. And again, Tom Stoltman is just getting started, and he's already in the 4th position of anybody in the last 10 years. I think that's incredible. And Hafthor also, who seems to be at or near the top of any way I slice the data, is again at the very top when I slice the data by this other metric that we didn't even consider last time. So, lots of respect and kudos have to go out to Thor for just looking at his numbers and seeing how dominant he was. So let's go through some of the questions. Juan Daniel guessed it. Hey, buddy, 1 is probably Thor. Good guess, buddy. Yep. So it actually was. And let me see if I missed any comments above, but hopefully you liked this analysis. And like I said, we'll continue to increase the number of years and see if this shifts over time. It does take a lot of work to do it. So now that I have what I think all of you consider a good set of metrics for 10 years, I'll start to increase the years. But let's see. World's Strongest Blacksmith says what I was just saying. I think you should do this with the entire history of strongman contest. World's Strongest Man, the Arnolds was, wow. Okay, I'll be going for a year to get all that done. But even just to get done all of the 40 some odd years that World's Strongest Man has been going is going to take a while. But yeah, I can, we'll get to the rest. If there's interest, I'll sure as heck get to the rest. Hunger Smash Fitness says, I'm surprised Mike Burke was up so high, although he was fairly competitive in his run. He was. Yeah. I was surprised Mike Jenkins was that high. I don't know. I guess it's because you just hear more about the other guys, but the numbers are the numbers. Carolyn Loomis says Big Z is the GOAT. I think everybody agrees. Is there anybody here who thinks Big Z is not the GOAT? That's I'd like to hear it if you do, because I think there's, in my opinion, there's no argument there. I don't even think there's much of an argument to say Brian's not number 2. I might get some pushback there, but I think Big Z is the GOAT, and I think there's nothing anybody can do to surpass that. I think Brian Shaw was number 2 before this World's Strongest Man. I think he still is number 2 all time. He would have been regardless of whether he won or not. Even if he won his 5th, he still wouldn't be past Z, in my opinion. And then I've been toying with 3 lately. I've been kind of landing on Kaz lately for number 3, but that can go a variety of ways. Kathleen asks, has Big Z quit competitions? Not as far as I'm aware. I thought last I heard, Hunger Smash, if you're still on here, buddy, have you heard, wasn't Z talking recently about still trying to break his log press record? And speaking of the man, the myth, the legend, Hunger Smash Fitness, he says Big Z is the GOAT. Yep. Carolyn says, I think Big Z is going to be at the Shaw Classic, but I could be dreaming. You might be right, I think. I have a few contests to cover before that, so haven't gotten to it yet. There's the Strongman Classic that my buddy Big Laws is going to be competing in, and I'm super excited to cover him on that. I actually messaged him today because he made a post on Instagram about it, and I said, hey, since the master of contest coverage is going to be competing, the student has to do the coverage now. So I'm going to have to definitely want to give him the coverage he deserves there. And for all of you who haven't checked the Giants Live website yet, you should. That Strongman Classic has an unbelievable lineup. Like, a lot of them are World's Strongest Man competitors from this year. Like, both Stoltmans are listed there. JF Caron, who, if he's healed in time, he's listed on there. Mark Felix is on there. I believe Adam Bishop's on there. It's a who's who type of cast. So yeah, definitely going to be covering that. And then we have the World Open and Deadlift Championships is another Giants Live event, which is in August 11th to 14th, like really close to where the Shaw Classic is. I think the Shaw Classic starts on the 15th, and the World Open might end on the 14th or something like that. They're really, really close to each other. So, yeah, I will get to the Shaw Classic. I just have this other one to cover first. But, yeah, I believe Big Z was invited again. He was invited last year, and I think he got hurt. Kathleen says, thumbs up. Thank you, Kathleen. Really appreciate that. Juan Daniel says, is it just finals? Would it not be Novikov? He was 2, so you were very, very close. Very, very close with Novikov. So that's just even bigger testament to Hafthor. So Novikov did really well in terms of points earned out of points possible one time. Hafthor averaged higher than him over 8 attempts. So like that's even a larger testament to what Hafthor accomplished. It's really, really unbelievable. And let's see. Jorge Lorenzo says, what are you considering a final? Because only recently they started with qualifying heats. Yeah, so I've only done the last 10 years. That's a good point. So when I get back to earlier years than that, we may have to come up with another algorithm, and I'm totally open to whether you have a good idea on how to handle that. But yeah, so far I've only gone back enough years where there were qualifying heats. Powerlifter Bear says, if you stretch it out over all World's Strongest Man comps, I'd put money on Kaz being in the top 3. We'll see. We'll see. Let's see. Can I take a picture of the screen so I can congratulate you if you're right? Let's do that. We'll do that. I have a touch screen, so I'm not pointing at you. I'm taking a picture of the screen. There we go. All right. So now we have our proof. If you are right, I will congratulate you. How about this? If you're right, I'll give you a gift card to a My Block Strongest Man t-shirt on the merch site. We'll do that. All right. Everybody heard me promise. Juan Daniel says, I'm asking if he is just considering finals. Yes, I am just considering finals. So I'm not looking at heats at all. These are all finalists. All right. Hunger Smash says, although to be fair, this last contest might have shifted time standing slightly, just like last year shifted Alexi slightly. Fair enough. Fair enough. Are you referring to the fact that Tom's able to still contribute, whereas people like Z are not? Like, it's kind of unfair to the numbers that can't move anymore. All right, let's see. Sorry, I have a lot of comments and lost track of them a bit. Jorge Lorenzo, the first is Novikov. 1 final, 1 win. Right, but we aren't going by wins. We're going by tonight's discussion is specifically about percentage of points earned divided by the points that were possible to earn. Let's see. Under Smash Fitness, I would, but I already know them. Yeah. Cool. Juan Daniel, 1 is probably Thor. Yes, you were right about that. Kathleen says, Sean did a meet and greet in Sacramento after World's Strongest Man. I saw that. That was so cool. He had a line down the block. I watched it on Shaw Strain today on his YouTube channel. That was really cool. And he stayed like super after hours too. It was supposed to be, I think, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. local time there. And then he made a deal with the fans. Like he said, if you get online by 8 o'clock, by the time we're supposed to stop, you can still come in and I'll go as long as I have to. And when he was recording the video, like, tremendous kudos to him and respect to him. They showed the clock and it was 11:36 p.m. So he did his 5 to 8, kept going for another 3.5 hours, and then still did a video. So unbelievable dedication that he has for sure. Juan Daniel says, if you take Brian Shaw's first 3 finals, he would have more than Tom's first 3. He was 3-2-1, whereas Tom was 5-2-1. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, we're doing it over a body of 10 years, so we'll see. And then, of course, you'll want to do this analysis again when Tom's done with his career to see, like, maybe Tom gets a bunch of 1s and 2s in a row. Who knows? Although I saw an interview with Tom, and he said Brian will get his 5th. So in order for Brian to get his 5th, Tom has to not win one at some point. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Carolyn says, Arnold's last 20 years is the GOAT, 8 wins. Are you talking about Big Z? Yeah, I mean, that's the main reason. Like, he's not he's won a bunch of World's Strongest Men. He has 4, but he's won so much other stuff that it's just, if you accumulate all those things, it's hard to make an argument for anybody else. Hunger Smash Fitness says, yes, he has been. I really hope he does. I think you're talking about Big Z coming back to try for the log. I don't think he's going to break the record, but it'd be really cool to see him compete. Hunger Smash Fitness again says, last I heard he was still planning on the Shaw Classic, but we'll see. That'll be fun. That'll be really fun. I got to take a look at the Shaw Classic events again and see what order the log is in. I'm sure there'll be a log overhead press. I have to see what order it's in terms of breaking records, right? Kathleen says Shaw has been a great spokesman for strongman. Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. Like, whatever you think about Brian Shaw, he has fans and he has people that root, there's people that root for others more than him, but you cannot take away that he's a true ambassador of the sport. The Shaw Classic is another way to bring the sport forward. And yeah, he's doing incredible, incredible things. So anything he can do to bring the sport forward and bring more attention to strongman is A-okay in my book. And I respect him very highly. Hunger Smash Fitness and I have actually had some people who know Brian really well on our show before. And, we've gotten their kind of feedback, and like Steve Foshin, for example, and Tanner Ray Manthe and people like that, and Anthony San Lorenzo that know and have trained with Brian. And they say the same thing from an insider's perspective of people that know him personally, that he's, a great ambassador and just a really great guy. So Kathleen says, did you spell Novikov's first name wrong? I did. Yeah, thank you. O-L. Sorry, Alexi, not Akexi. Thanks. Appreciate that. Yeah, I never claim to be perfect. I do my best. Work my full-time job and then try to get this all done quickly, and then jumping on here at, I don't know what time zone you're all in, but for me, it's super late. I thank God for Hunger Smash Fitness. He's on the Pacific time zone, so for helping me out and jumping in and helping to make the comments interesting, as you all are. Christus is back. What's up, Christus? Yoko Ahola would rank pretty high in this. Interesting. He would. I didn't go back far enough to count him, but yeah, we'll see. The thing that I remember most about Yoko Ahola is the Flintstone deadlift that he won. Like, it had the stones on the ends that looked like Flintstones. And actually, I heard Magnus for Magnuson's putting together a contest in August of this year that's going to be all stone based. So it'll be like stone deadlift, stone overhead pressing, or things like that. But he wanted to be all stone based implements. And Steve Schmidt from the US, who competed with Thor some years ago in an overhead block world record competition that was just the two of them. He was supposed to go over and compete in Magnus's competition, his like all stone-based events competition. And if you check out Steve Schmidt's Instagram, he pulled his tricep, like he's got bruising all over his arm now, so he can't compete. It sucks. I really wanted to see how he would do there. Patrick, what's up, Patrick? Just got here. For anybody else who just got here, if you haven't subscribed yet and you like what you're hearing, hit that subscribe button for me and hit the like on this live stream. I really would appreciate that. So Patrick says, I would say no to Tom being the most dominant winner in the last 10 years. Just going off memory, 2016 Brian and 2017 Eddie were more dominant, not falling out of the top 3 in any event. Fair enough. So we were doing an average percentage of points gained over points possible. So if we did placings, that would be another analysis. Kathleen is on the West Coast, so you're where Hunger Smash Fitness is. So I'm glad I didn't catch you too late. Awesome. Parker Strawn, hey man, I just subscribed. I love the content. Thank you, Parker. I love that you've come here and engaged with the audience. It's awesome. Watch some of my other stuff while you're here. If you are a World's Strongest Man fan, I interviewed 5 of the guys like months or weeks before the competition. So you might like to hear what Chris van der Linde or Travis Ortmeyer had to say, or Hafthor Melstead or JF or Maxime. So check out a bunch of my stuff while you're here. I really would appreciate that. And thanks for the subscription. It really does help out. All right, I think I've hit all the comments. So let me show you how this broke out. So I kind of showed you the answers, but you might want to see each year while we're here. So let's do that. So I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. And if we go all the way left, sorry, it jumped. Oh, the other thing you might find interesting, we'll get to it in a minute. So I'm gonna go all the way left and show you how I came up with all this. And then I have another analysis that looks through all of these percentages together, like everybody for every year, and tells you who had the most dominant single year. So here we're looking at an aggregate of all the times they were in the final, who averaged the best, but you might be interested to know whose single year was the best percentage also. So we can look at that as well. And so if we look at Hafthor, for example, and it would take forever to go through all 41 guys, but maybe we do the top 5 or something. So if you look at Hafthor, of course, he didn't compete in 2021, 2020. In 2019, he had 37 points. I'm in column L right now. So he had 37 points out of a possible 50 for 74%. 2018, he was higher, 51.5 out of 60 points for 85.83%. And so you'll notice some of these years had a possible 50 points for 5 events in the finals, and some had a possible 60 points for 6 events. And 2014 was really wacky. And thanks to all of you in the audience who suggested that 2014 was wacky, so I should include these numbers because it does make a big difference. So thank you to all of you. And you'll see 2014 was actually a possible of 72 points, and it had more competitors as well. So it had, I think it was 12 competitors in 2014. I got all this from Strongman Archives if you want to check it out. And it had more events. So here, when I was saying the other day that the top 3 in 2014 all had over 61 points, 61 and over, folks pointed out like, yeah, but there were more competitors. So 10 isn't your top score anymore, 12 is. So it's easier to get more points. And there were, I think, 6 events. So it kind of multiplies out to 72. And so if you look at Thor there, he had 63.5 points out of a possible 72 for 88%. So like he has many years where he's well over 80%. And that's why like he ends up at the top of the list like nobody else. 2013, he was at 70%. In 2012, he was at 70.83. Almost every other year except for one, he was well over 80% mark. And that's why he's at number 1. Alexei, of course, has just the 1 year where he comes out 47 out of 60 points. Then you have Brian Shaw, who's in all 10 of them. So, you know, he had this year 42.5 out of 60, 35.5 out of 60 last year, 30 out of 50 the year before, 44 out of 60 the year before, 48 out of 60 the year before, 53 out of 60 the year before, same thing, 53 out of 60 in 2015, 61 out of 72 in 2014, 51 out of 60 in 2013, and 40 out of 60 in 2012. So that's kind of how I got that aggregate at the end. I had to add up all of the columns that say points, like column H, for example, and divide them by the sum of all the columns that say possible. And, you know, for all the years that those guys competed. So it equals out, right? So for somebody that competed only once or twice, since you are only counting 1 or 2 years, both in the numerator and the denominator, it's a fair comparison to somebody who competed 8 times or 10 times. So that's how that all broke out. Now let's take a look at the best single year. So any guesses before I show it on who had if we look at the percentage of points earned over points possible, not who had the best 10-year aggregate that we just saw, who had the best single year, like in that particular year, had the highest percentage of anybody in any of these 10 years. What do you think? And Hunger Smash, again, you know the answer. You can't guess. Patrick says Big Z. Any other guesses? Hunger Smash, in the meantime, says, should do one just looking at the best year of each athlete and compare them that way. That's a good point because I have the data, so now I can do that. Any other guesses? Going once? Going twice? Let's see if Patrick is right. So, we'll start from the bottom. And you might have seen it at the top before I scrolled away, but I'll show them all to you quickly anyway. So starting from the bottom, 2020 Graham Hicks, 1 point, 1.67%. 2013 Mikhail Koklayev, and I won't say each percent until we get to the top, but you can see them in column G. So Big Laz, 2016 Big Laz is next. 2019 Konstantin Janasha is next. Then 2018 Big Z. And, you know, there's 102 of these because guys competed in multiple years, so we'll go through it quickly. So we have, let me just put my cursor there so we could do it. So then we have 2012 Irvin Katona, 2015 Jerry Pritchett, 2017 Nick Best, 2015 Mikhail Shivlikov, 2013 Robert Oberst, 2013 Johannes Arzo, 2015 Mark Felix, 2019 Adam Bishop. Now, I'm going to skip a bunch because I don't think you want to wait through all that. So let's get to the top 25, shall we? Number 25 is 2020 Tom Stoltman. 24 is 2018 Brian Shaw. 23 is 2019 Thor. 2012 is, 22 is 2012 Vitalis Laulis. 21 is 2018 Kiliaskowski. Number 20 is 2015 Eddie Hall. Number 19 Tom Stoltman again. This is this year's Tom Stoltman is 19th. The 19th best percentage year of anybody in any of those 10 years. Number 18 is 2019 Mateusz Kiliaskowski. Number 17, 2020, last year's Alexei Novikov. Number 16 is 2013 Big Z. Number 15 is 2017 Brian Shaw. Number 14 is 2012 Big Z. Number 13 is 2015 Thor. Another Big Z, 2015 Big Z is number 12. Another Hafthor, so 2017 Hafthor is number 11. And Brian Shaw again at number 10, 2014 this time. Number 9 is again Brian Shaw, this time 2013 Brian Shaw. Number 8 is 2016 Hafthor. Number 7 is 2017 Eddie Hall. I was a little surprised he was that high up on the list. Number 6 is 2018 Thor. Number 5, so we're in the top 5, is 2014 Thor. Again, this is the best single year. So Thor on there a lot, Z on there a lot, and Brian on there a lot. Number 4 is 2015 Brian Shaw. Number 3, 2016 Brian Shaw. Number 2, 2014 Big Z. And number 1, Patrick predicted Big Z. Did we have any other predictions? Kieran Allen says Lisi's at 92%. Kieran, if you didn't see it on my screen, big kudos to you for knowing that. It is, in fact, Martins Lisi's at 92%. Had the best year, 46 points out of 50 in 2019. So any other comments about anything we've seen? Any other different ways you want me to slice and dice this analysis as we go forward? If not, we'll wrap it up for the evening. I hope you found this very interesting. So to answer the big question of the evening, is Tom Stoltman the most dominant World's Strongest Man winner or World's Strongest Man finalist in the last 10 years? The answer is no. But he's really, really close and is just getting going in his career at World's Strongest Man and has a lot of opportunity to increase that over time. So thanks again for joining me on my blog Strongest Man, where we do all the data slicing and dicing that you would ever want. And if you have any suggestions for different data that you want to see in the future, definitely let me know and I'll put that together for you as well. And of course, until next time, as always, ciao, homie.